My name is Julie Clark. I'm a dietitian at Trinity Regional Medical Center's Diabetes Center in Fort Dodge. I'm here to give you a few tips on label reading for carbohydrate counting for diabetics. First of all, when you're in the grocery store and you feel like it's taking you a very long time to shop because you keep looking at those labels, we'll talk about a couple of tips for what to look at when you're looking at the labels. Are those sugar-free chocolate chip cookies really a better choice for diabetics than the regular chocolate chip cookies? Let's talk about what to look at. First of all, let's look at a food label. A sample food label will give you the serving size at the top. This is not the amount that you are limited to eating, but it is the amount that gives you the nutrition information below. So what you need to do is look at that serving size and compare that to how much you actually eat. So if it says 1 cup and you eat 2 cups, that's okay. You just need to double the nutrition information accordingly. So again, looking at the serving size first is an important step. The next thing you want to look at is the total carbohydrate number. This takes into consideration the grams of fiber and the grams of sugar already. Some of you may be kind of tuned into looking at grams of sugar, feeling like you need to limit your sugar intake. But actually, it's your total carbohydrate intake that's important. So look at that total carbohydrate number, and like I said, with the serving size, you need to compare that to how much you actually eat. And again, if you eat twice as much as the label says, then you would need to double the grams of carbohydrate. The next step would be to compare those grams of carbohydrates to how many grams of carbohydrate are in a carb portion. If you've had any nutrition education before for carb counting, you will know that there are 15 grams of carbohydrate in 1 carb serving. So you just divide that total carbohydrate number by 15, and then you will get your total carbs. We also have a carb counting tool that you can refer to that does the math for you. And as you can see here, it will break down the grams of carbohydrate into 1 carb, 1.5 carbs, 2 carbs, and so on. So if you don't like to think about the multiples of 15 and doing the math to figure out how many carbs that will be, this carb counting tool can be very helpful. So those are the main steps. Look at your serving size, compare it to how much you actually eat, and then look at your total grams of carbohydrate. Again, that takes into account the fiber and the sugar, so all you have to look at is the carbohydrate number. Divide that number by 15 and you get your total carb portions. Or look at our carb counting tool and it does the math for you. There are other things to look at on the label also, but for carb counting, those are the 2 main portions to look at, and then do the math. If you're interested in the list of ingredients, that's another portion of the label, and if there's something that you're trying to avoid and it's listed as one of the first 3 ingredients, you might want to choose a different product. So getting back to that example of the sugar-free chocolate chip cookies versus the regular chocolate chip cookies, you just need to look at the total carbohydrate numbers. And if they're about the same and the grams of sugar are different, it doesn't really matter. The total carbohydrate number is what's important. So if they're about the same, which they usually are, then you might want to make your choice based on taste, or these days you might want to make a choice based on cost. So, in a nutshell, those are the main tips about food label reading for carbohydrate counting. Don't forget us at the Diabetes Center at Trinity Regional Medical Center and ask your doctor for a referral to come see us. Our phone number to make an appointment is 515-574-6350.